Welcome to the Mother Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Well, hello, mothers and daughters. Today we have a very special guest, which is going to talk about everything that I love to talk about, which is travel. So welcome Agnes Obercore, and she is partnered with me with the International Ladies of Purpose. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard me say everything about it, but now I just wanted to kind of get her on here so that we could just kind of give you a little bit more information about the travel group. Plus, you might want to have your own travel group, or you want to join a group of ladies, and we'll tell you the specifics of being a part of our club. But welcome, Miss Agnes.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And you know, the funny thing is it's kind of funny, I should say, when people ask me, you know, like, how did we meet? And I'm just like, when I start thinking about the date, I'm like, that it was so long ago. Like, where did the time go when it really feels like it was 2 or 3 years ago? But we're talking 2011, 2012.
Yes.
It was absolutely crazy.
Yes. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's amazing how it worked out that on a travel, it was the first time of us meeting, but we just happened to get along.
Right.
And happened to just like knew each other already.
Yeah.
And whatever you like, that's what I like.
Yeah.
Whatever I like, that's what you like. So it's just like natural thing that we just came together during the trip, and then it just stayed. And
then what's so funny, I could be thinking of planning something, writing it down, and you'll be like, I already wrote that down. I was thinking the same thing. And I'm just like, I told you a month ago, I said, let's just stop asking, how's that possible? Just don't even bother asking. It's just gonna happen. There's nothing we can do about it. Our brains are just in sync with what it is that we're planning. So it's kind of funny. So did I ever tell you? Did I ever tell you how I thought about us, you know, starting back to travel again? Did I ever tell you how that happened?
I was here thinking, and I felt like I've been thinking all this myself. Where is this group? Why didn't I meet them? Every now and then I'll visit their website and I see nothing.
Right.
And even if it's a travel, it's within the United States, was basically Virginia.
Yeah.
And then I was there, and one day you called me. We've been talking, but that day you called me, you said, Agnes, what is on your mind? You think about traveling? I said, yes. And it's about nothing is going on. I said, and you said, maybe we have to do our own. I said, that's it. Yeah. We just got to do our own.
Yeah.
And that's how we.
Because I have been checking onto the Napoleon Hill Foundation website for over a year. Like right when the pandemic was starting to wane down, because I just blamed everything on that maybe nobody's traveling because of that. I know I had started back traveling, but not as much because, you know, when you travel by yourself, you just, you know, you don't go as much. But I have been checking onto the website and I just didn't see anything. And when I say anything, I mean international. And I was like, well, instead of sitting around waiting and checking the website for another year, let me call and see if Agnes would be interested in us doing our own thing. And I was actually going to the Ross department store, and I was looking for a chair at that time. And I pulled into the park, and something said, before you get out of the car, call her now while it's on your mind, because you're going to go in the store and you're going to see all the things you want. And when you come out, you're going to forget. And then the day is going to go on. And then it might be 3 or 4 months before I think of it again. So I called you right then. And I have been trying to reach you, but, you know, through the pandemic, we really couldn't reach anybody. And so when you answered, I was like, you know, like, what are you doing? Are you traveling? What's going on? And we both realized, okay, there's nothing going on the other website. Then let's just do our own thing. And it's like, okay, let's do it. So it's funny how things come, because I often wonder if I hadn't just stopped, made the phone call, because I literally sat in the car that whole time waiting to go in the store, just talking to you on the phone. And you said, just give me a little time, call me back, and then we'll get it together. And at that point, it was like, on go time for me, because I was like, okay,
Yes.
now I can sit down and start to really think about, what type of group do I think I want to be a part of? Because everybody that I had talked to, even including myself, have been traveling on their own. And I think coming out of the situation that we came out of, we all were just kind of like, I think it'll be better to travel with someone instead of by yourself,
Yes.
just because safety is in numbers. But I have been, since the last time you and I traveled with that particular group, I have been on so many trips by myself that it was like, I know how to fill my days and I don't get bored. I've never had that feeling of being bored on vacation or on any kind of trip or excursion or whatever. Because if I know I'm going to travel by myself, then I just have the tour people just pick me up from the hotel, bring me back to the hotel every day. That way I'm minimizing contact that I have maybe with too many people, when you're by yourself. But when you're with a group of people, then you can get adventurous and you can go here and you can go there and you feel a little bit more confidence. I was so happy when you said, oh yeah, I think we could do that. I was like, okay, then. It just it's one of those things that it takes time to grow. But tell me, what was your thought when I called you? We're talking after we got off the phone. What were you thinking? Like, huh?
Yes. When you get off the phone, and like I said, it was something that was on my mind. Like, I wish there's a group that we used to have.
Right,
So after you left, I was thinking, how can we make this happen?
right,
So we need to rally people around. We need to call some people we knew that we travel with and we know they have good character.
right,
We can actually deal with them. So we
right.
started calling, and actually got Marie on,
Yeah.
and I said, call Marie, and you did. Actually, I said, if you can call Marie, and you did, because you say you had a little bit of time on your side,
Mm-hmm.
and you did, and she joined, and that's how we started trying to grow.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, how are we going to get the people together? What kind of people are we going to get? Because we know that we do not want in just anybody to be part of the group. Like you said, we are women. We wanted to maintain a women group. I think that's something we talked about. Are we
Well,
going to
the
include
other thing
men
we talked about is
or just women? And we thought, well, we don't know too much about men.
yeah,
And if we include men, that means accommodation and everything. We have to think about, have to protect everybody and meet their need and our needs. So we decided, let's just make it women, because we are women. We know ourselves better.
right.
And
And the other thing we were thinking is that we wanted people who either already knew about the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich, or
yes,
17 success,
yes, absolutely.
or those who are willing to learn about it. Because you and I had this same, I think, thought process of, if we're all on the same wavelength, it'll help us to get along even better. Because, just even yesterday, we were just talking about, going on travel trips and having a Debbie Downer or somebody who's negative. It makes the whole experience a bad one. So, anytime that, of course, you're going to be a part of an exclusive group, which is what I feel like we are, there's going to be rules that say, do you fit into this group? We've had someone to come into the group, and when they got the rules of the group to agree to, they said, oh no, I don't want to read on vacation. I'm not trying to do any reading. I just want to sit back and do nothing on vacation. I'm like, that's when it told me there's a difference between vacations and just a travel excursion type of thing. A vacation, most people feel like they just want to kick their feet up. They don't want to leave the room, maybe other than to walk out to the beach or walk out to do something, but they don't want to actually experience the place that they're at. And I'm more about the experience in the place and meeting the people in the town, and buying something maybe that's handmade, or eating food that tastes like it's homemade or from scratch, however you want to call it. And so I guess there's just a different definition for most people on what traveling is and what a vacation is, and all of these type of things. So there's been a lot of conversation around how people like to travel. And I feel like you should travel with the group that fits what you want best, right?
Absolutely.
You
Travel with a group that fits you best, because once you travel, you are out of your comfort of your zone.
Right.
What you don't know anybody else but the person you're traveling with, or the people you're traveling with. So
Right.
it has to be something that is compatible. You don't want to travel and only with people that you realize their values are different.
Right.
And so they'll start doing things that makes you uncomfortable. And it's not just uncomfortable, but if it's not safe, then you're also in danger. You put your safety on the line if you're traveling with people who do not care and do anything else. If you don't care also, I mean, I think you've experienced that before. You travel with somebody, you stay in a hotel, and they accumulate bills that you have nothing to do with.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Which was really kind of scary, because what if, what I was saying to you, by the way, what happened is that I was roommating with a lady that was from London or England or somewhere, and I came from Texas, and we were on a trip, and we were roommates in the room. And of course, when you check into a room, even though everything's paid for, you still have to give your credit card on file, and then that person has to give their credit card on file. And this person went down to the bar every night and drank up over $550 worth of liquor. I don't drink alcohol, so we know it wasn't my bill, and everybody on that bus could vouch that she don't even drink alcohol. So, but my safety concern, as you just said, is what if I would have disputed it and got ugly about it, and then she would have already flown back home. I could have been detained or anything, because they would have said, other than pulling the cameras, if there were any, to look at the person or to check my key card to see how many times I went in and out, I could have missed my flight by the time they do all of that. And then I would have not gotten back with the group, and it could have really been an issue. But, everything worked out the way it was supposed to, because by the time I got off the bus to go say, oh no, that person is in the room, let's go and let's take care of this now, she was trying to actually leave at that point. So it was like a 10-minute gap in between the time of where there could have literally been an issue. So, and also imagine traveling with someone that you're roommating with, and there's a few of you ladies, and that person decides they're angry about something, they're just going to leave out the room to go cool off. Do you know how hazardous that is? You know how nerve-wracking that is to see that person leave out of that room and you guys are not getting along? And what if they don't return? You'll forever have that guilt of, maybe we shouldn't have been arguing, or maybe I shouldn't have did that, when it really has nothing to do with you. It has really the character of other people. So the only thing that I'm saying is that make sure that if you're going to be a part of a travel group, especially if you want to be a part of International Ladies of Purpose, that you understand what our standards are, what our policy and procedure are, and what our requirements are to be a part. Because the only thing we're thinking of, Agnes, like you said, safety. We're thinking of having really good vibes with one another, and we're thinking about creating long relationships with one another. And you are not going to be able to do that if you're traveling with someone who's negative, or someone who, has something terrible to say about everything and everybody, or someone who's not what I like to call a team player, to be able to get along with everybody. And I haven't had those problems since I stopped traveling with certain people and saying, okay, I'm just, can't travel with that group of people because I don't do this, I don't want to do that, I'm not that person, I'm not interested in that. And it's okay to do adventurous things when you're traveling, and it's okay for somebody to say, no, I'm not going to do that. But to do something that puts the whole group in jeopardy, it's just not responsible.
It's not worth it. It's not worth anything. And I think let me just add to that. Another reason why we travel as International Ladies of Purpose is for mental health. So if we leave homes, we're going for mental health. We're going to improve our health. We're going to improve our personal life, and we're going to improve our businesses and our financial status, and learn about, cash flow strategies to help us to travel. Then we can have negative people around, because that would defeat the purpose that we're going. Then we go out going to seek mental health, come back with maybe depression. We don't want to do that. So
that would be working backwards. You're right. I mean, when you start thinking about your mental health and mental well-being, and you start thinking about your personal development and your professional development, when you can get a group that encompasses and cares about all of that for you, and then you just so happen to get to see a beautiful place or a bucket list place or something like that, it's kind of like you get everything that you need kind of wrapped up into a bow. Do you even remember how we came up with the name? I was sitting back going through notes from last year, and I was like, I don't even know how we came up with the name. I think it was another one of those things where you said something, I said something, and we said that's what it is.
Yes, that's what it is.
I don't even know.
We agreed on, we agreed on it being women.
Yes.
So we started women extravaganza, women, we just tried to brainstorm.
Right.
And then we said, oh, since we wanted to be international, everybody involved, we're
Yeah.
going to say international women of, we started with international women of intelligence, something.
Yeah.
And then we said, so we started writing and we said, oh, purpose, because
we have a purpose for our
Hill.
Yeah.
Yes. With the Napoleon Hill, the whole thing is having a purpose to begin with. So we said women of purpose.
Right.
And then we said, well, international women of purpose. So we wrote women, and then you came by, you said, let's make it ladies.
Right.
Because we are ladies.
Yes.
So that's how we end up having international ladies of purpose.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the other reason I think too, and I could be wrong, but in my mind, I think that we also switched the word women out to ladies is because ladies sound a little bit more dainty. You don't see a lot of argument about what a lady is. You see a lot of argument with people about wanting to define what a woman is. But I have never heard somebody say, well, what is a lady? But I have heard a lot of people say, well, how do you define a woman? I'm not going to even get into all of that because it's not even necessary at this point. It's not even a conversation that needs to be had. But we came up with that ladies part because it sounded just so dainty. And again, I've just never argued with anyone about what a lady is, you know. And
that's right.
I don't know about you, but I personally do not like the word female. When I hear the word female, I think about a feline cat. And I just don't like the word female. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and as soon as the guy said the word female, I logged off. That's just how much I don't like that word. Saying female to me is almost like calling me a cuss word. I don't like it. I think people have sullied it up so much that it just turns me off to hear that. So it was never going to be International Females of Purpose. That it was not ever going to be that. And we got to just celebrate our 1-year anniversary in June, and we got to do that a couple of weeks ahead because we were in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So that was pretty cool, and we took some great pictures, and so that was really good. So if you haven't gone to our Instagram page, it is the International Ladies of Purpose, and that's on Instagram, Facebook, all of the different social medias, but most of our playground is over on Facebook. We have a Threads as well, which is International Ladies of Purpose. But, you know, how'd you feel when you came back from the first trip in December to Mexico? Because that was your first time in Mexico, right?
Yes, that was my first time in Mexico.
I could tell because you brought a purse that big. I know.
Do you have to mention that everywhere we go?
I told you I'm petty. It won't let me leave. It won't let me leave it. Every time I think about that purse, I say, I gotta tell her, don't ever bring that purse with us again. So that was your first time going to Mexico. So that's cool that you got a first timer. And then I got a first timer in May because I've been to Tennessee many times, but I've never been to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg. So tell me about your experience on the first one.
Oh, the first one, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually my peak, my first peak. Because, you know, we travel based on your bucket list.
Yeah.
And that was my bucket list. Never been there. And so I was amazed. Actually, I came back and I was telling my family, I said, ever since I've been in the United States, you know, I immigrated to the United States.
Yeah.
So every time I hear about Mexico, nothing good. Everybody said, you don't want to go there, they do that. So I got to Mexico and I have so much peace of mind. I was so relaxed. I love the place. I just love the place. And I decided I would just eat authentic Mexican food.
Yes.
And even when we went to the waffle place that next morning to eat, I did not eat waffle. I ate authentic Mexican breakfast.
Yeah, why?
And it was some kind of egg cooked with some kind of soup around it. It was so delicious.
Yeah.
So
I'm so glad you
I just fell in love. I just fell in love with Mexico.
But you see how the mind trick is when it comes to, and I often find this within people who have not experienced certain things, because to be honest with you, since I was a child, it's always been said, you don't want to go to Africa. You don't want to go to Africa because it's dangerous. The men don't respect the women. everybody lives in a hut and has flies all over them. It's the mind, and the word I want to use, I cannot use because the Lord just will not be pleased. But it's just such a mind trip to think that people can try to tell you don't want to go somewhere because it's filthy. Like when I told everybody I was going to Indonesia in 2016 by myself for my birthday, I think I was there 12 or 14 days, something like that, by myself. Everybody goes like, ew, why do you want to go there? They're poor and they're, what are you talking about? Who do you think I am? Lady Diana or somebody? Like, I'm not allergic to poor. Okay, I know what poor looks like. So like, it's not going to be such a shock to me that I'm going to be like, oh, clutch my pearls, take me back to Texas. No, what are you talking about? They're so poor. Anywhere you go where there's poverty, there's also wealth. So there's a mix everywhere. But I love what you just said about Mexico, because that is what the stigma is. And I'm like, how is it that I can go 3 times a year and I've not had a bad experience, and I love going to Mexico, and I love the food and the people, and you just don't have these kind of problems. Now, I think if you put yourself in a situation where you're doing something you have no business doing, then yeah, you're going to get what you came to get. But if you are there for your purpose and you're there doing what you do on your vacation or your tour or whatever, and you're being safe at all costs, basically, you'll be fine. But ever since I was a kid, Agnes, they have always said, don't go to Africa. It's too poor over there. It's too this over there. The people don't like America. That was the number one thing, is that Africans don't like Black Americans.
I don't know.
So,
I grew up in Africa.
Yeah.
I grew up in Ghana.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I grew up in Ghana.
So you understand that that's just not the truth, but that's what Americans sell to us Americans about other countries, which is the same thing they try to tell us about going to Mexico. And I say, you understand, I live in Texas, and before Texas was Texas, it was Mexico. I mean, what are we really talking about here? What, like, I need to understand what we're really talking about, because we cannot be talking about don't go somewhere because of that. Because clearly, if you were born and raised and you grew up there, obviously you survived.
Yes.
You're here to talk about it. We're planning a trip to go there. So, like, that's why when anybody tries to tell me something about a country, I'm going to go read about it for myself, or I'm going to go and see what the latest news, or if there's a warning out there, and I'm going to check it out for myself. And I'm not going to hear this from some writer or some article person who has never stepped 1 foot over there. You really can't tell me anything, because I've been to places that folks said don't go. I've been into the jungles of Honduras. I've been to Indonesia. I've been to all these different places that's like, you can say whatever you want, but there's great people every corner of the earth. It's just you haven't experienced them, so you don't know. But when you came to Alabama, what were some of the things that people tried to give you a stigma about because you were from Africa?
Oh, there's so many things that people do, and some of them you don't even want to talk about because it's so inhumane. But I can tell you one thing that was significant, and people told me to file a lawsuit and all the stuff. But when I was going to look for a job, I went to a hospital, and I'm in the healthcare field. So I did an interview, and the HR director called me and said, no, we cannot hire you. And I said, what? They said, because you're from Africa. And I said, from Africa? So what happened? I said, I had my baby in this hospital. He said, people can understand you when my staff cannot understand you. And I said, I don't think that's right, because I had my baby in this hospital and a year ago, and I got along with your staff. No issue at all. And she repeated, saying, I'm sorry, but if you were from Canada, I would have considered, but from Africa, no, we will not hire anybody from Africa. But you know what? I tell people, don't let anybody say things to destroy your destiny. For me, when she said that, and I walked out of the hospital, it was like, okay, make me.
Exactly.
What you saw on the papers, you saw degrees, because I wasn't just coming to look for a job. I was registered nurse. I was a registered nurse midwife. I had a degree with administration in education at the University of Ghana. So I wasn't just coming with nothing.
Right.
So I turn around and I look at a hospital and I say, you know what? One day, staff in this hospital will call me for consultation.
Mm-hmm.
And I left. And people said, I told my husband that they were just considering lawsuit. And I said, no, this is not a lawsuit case. This is a statement that is telling me, my other self in me that refuses to fail, say, you make me.
Right.
So after that, I started school all over here. I did my baccalaureate. I did 2 master's degree. I did my doctorate in public health. I did a nurse practitioner. I did it all. So I don't even have to write any education I had from Ghana.
Right.
Everything 100% from here. And now you can say, because you're from Africa. And today, let me tell you, I got their doctors and staff calling me to ask me, what should we do about this?
But imagine somebody saying that to you in 2023, you'd have to sue them just on principle alone, because even if you felt that way as a hiring manager or whoever you are, even if you felt that way, you should have never said something like that.
They said,
so that was absolutely, how many years ago was that?
Oh, that was about 30 years ago.
They could get away with it then. They could get away with it.
But even then, they couldn't get away. I could sue them, but you know what? That would retard my progress.
Exactly. When you can just show them better than you can tell them.
Yes, that will retard my progress. But you know what? 3 months after that, she was fired from the hospital herself.
She should have been.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know why she was fired. I heard just somebody told me, she was fired. I think she did something. It was in the news or something.
Yeah.
And but I said, see, there's some things that will happen. And it's like, if people understand what it is for the devil to destroy your destiny, these are some of the things. Yeah. Because I was more qualified than anybody in her hospital.
Right.
And there's some hospital that did not call me at all. They did not call me at all for interview. But you see what? I realized it was like intimidation.
Right.
You look at it, the qualification is like intimidation. Yeah. So I have trained myself that certain behavior of people would not deter me. And so that is why, if you heard me before, I talk about racism is used to depress the Black population, and they bought into it, and they are wrapped up into it to the point that it actually depressing and stopping the growth for them. Yeah. Few of them Black people have moved up,
yeah, but
majority of them are still soaked up in this hatred through racism. Everything they talk about racism, this white people, and I said, listen, stop it, because they are not stopping you. You are stopping yourself. Yeah. And they are using that word, racism, white people racism, to stop you as a Black person. But I've been in this country for just about 31 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I made friends. How did I meet you? Way in the first time
Ireland, right? Yep.
We met in Ireland.
Yep.
Now the organization is organized by white people. So if I said, oh, I'm not going, these are white people.
We would have never met then.
We never met.
We would have never met, because how else would we have crossed paths? I can't even think of one thing that I'm not in real estate. I'm not in public health. I don't hang out in Alabama too often. So it's like we would have never met. So that's also a very powerful story, because you're right. If you had just said, I'm done, we would have never gotten a chance to go to Italy and the chance to be in Ireland.
But you know what? I believe in wherever I move to and wherever I go, wherever I travel to, that's why I love to travel. There's something there for me.
Right.
There's something there for me to be at that place, to have the opportunity to go there. So I love our focus on success, personal development, spiritual development, mental health, and all the stuff. So I love to go, because when I get back, I will never be the same.
Exactly.
It's something that I will learn to bring back.
So what was your number one, other than the food, what was your favorite thing about Tulum?
Oh, Tulum, I like the vibe of the place, the environment, the people.
Right.
You go to a place and you feel like, oh, I can live here.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how
I can live here.
I feel about it too.
Yes. Because there's some places I go and I say, the first time I flew to California, I was flying, and I'm not saying anything against people who live in California. No, that's not it. Right. It's a beautiful place, but just flying over and looking down before the plane landed, I already said, no, I'll visit this place, but I will not live here.
Right.
But people love it there, and I think it's a beautiful place, but that's me. But at Tulum, Cancun, I said, I can live here.
Yeah.
And I love their grocery store. You get fresh vegetables.
And a lot of the things that you saw there, you said were back in your hometown, so that was really cool too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you said don't talk about food, but I think I have to talk about
I know. We gotta talk about food. But listen, I think my favorite thing about I have two things that live rent free in my head. And one of them is when you and I were being silly on those swings at the little place. We were sitting on the swings. Yes. And then I think the next thing that was really, really fun to me was us being able to have dinner on the rooftop of our hotel with the live music playing and everything. And every time I look at that one picture where I turned around and took a picture of the moon, and it just looked so fake. It looked like we could just reach out and touch the moon. It was so huge. And it looked like one of the moons that's typically in a movie or something. It just, I just was like, wow, this is what the moon looks like from my Mexico view. And on my picture, it gives it no justice. It just shows you a big moon, but it doesn't show you how it felt like you could reach out and touch it. So having dinner on that rooftop was really, really cool because it's like our hotel offered us so many ways that we could experience, the hotel there. Now, what about Tennessee that you liked? What was your number one thing you liked and the number one thing that's memorable for you? And that was Memorial Week.
It was a Memorial Weekend, yes. I love the people that we went with. I never met the group. Those are our new group members.
Right.
And we blended like we have known each other for
20 years. Yes.
I still think about it. Like, how do we get along? Right from driving from here all the way there, we just blended it like we knew each other already. And that was something about International Ladies of Purpose that I love. Yeah. Our first travel to Tulum and Cancun, it was the same.
Yeah.
It was this unity and peace among each other. So I love now the next thing I love about Tennessee, driving through Gallenberg in the mountains, it just felt so peaceful. And all along, I know you didn't want me to think about that, but I said, I wish I could see a bear. I wish I could see a bear. And then when we get our ATV, the man said, you most likely at this time, you most likely see a bear. And we saw a bear, and we stopped in front of you. and
I told the lady in the car with me, I said, get the picture of the bear, and we going around them. They can look at the bear all day long. I do not want to interact with the bear. And as soon as we were getting ready to go around y'all took off because I was like, y'all have sat too long trying to take a selfie with the bear, from the car, of course. I did not. I'm glad that it was crawling up the mountain and not coming down toward us, because in my mind, I would have fainted. If there's a baby bear, there's a mama and a papa bear. And I don't think
the mama was there.
And I don't think they're as friendly as the Bernstein bears. The little kids.
So I love that. And where else can you go and see a live bear?
Not too many places where they're just kind of roaming like you are.
Yes. And just driving an ATV through town and people kind of honking and all the stuff. It was really cool. It was cool.
Really cool. It was.
And going through see, all the time, I like to put our success principles in mind when I'm doing some of these activities.
Right. Right.
So going through Anarchista, driving that little whatever car they call it up, I was thinking how
the chairlift.
yes,
Uh-huh,
the chairlift. I was thinking this is creative imagination. How they are using the mountains to make money with little things.
Yeah.
And that brings to my mind, it's like Napoleon Hill said, if you really put your mind to it, you can do anything. Because there are mountains at some places, nobody's using it for any useful thing. And the people are poor.
Right.
The people living in poverty, and they have more beautiful mountain chains than what we saw.
Yes.
But they're never using it. So it makes me think and bring the success principles in place. And that's what makes I love to travel with the Napoleon Hill Foundation in mind, because I'm learning, like, if these people can do this, surely there's something I can do to improve my financial status or improve my personal life. And it's also giving that mental health that I needed. Right. And then finally, the local goat restaurant.
Oh, I don't think we can ever get away from talking about food, so we just gonna do it anyway. When I tell you that restaurant was so good, and you know what, I'm glad we didn't have a group of people that were like, "No, I don't want to wait." Everybody was like, "Well, let's just wait and see." You know, I've been with people that you go to eat and you see there's 20 people in the line and they're like, So now you're still hungry. You're still not going to get any food. You didn't wait when it could have went fast, because they were telling us it was going to take longer than what it did. And we just sat there, and me and Felicia, one of our members, we just made a game out of it. Every time somebody come in and put their name on the list and they would say their area code to their phone number, we'll go, okay, that's Texas. Okay, that's Louisiana. We literally like made a game out of it while we were sitting there. Before we know it, they were calling us to get our food, and we had the best servers ever. We had Jake, not Jake from State Farm, but Jake. And then we had another gentleman, but it was so good that we ended up going the next day. So I'm telling you, when you go places, if you don't get out and discover that food, and you don't get out and discover that shopping, or you don't get out and discover those people, you won't get a chance to see all the greatness. And what I loved about Gatlinburg downtown is we saw every age possible. We saw babies. We saw folks in their 90s. So everybody was just kind of like getting along and minding their business and doing whatever it is that they came to do. But I have to tell you, since I've gotten back from that trip, I keep saying, out here where I live, I would love to have a road that has all of that entertainment type of things to do, like Pigeon Forge had, for example, the big camera with the fingernails, and I would love to have a place like that. That upside down White House thing, I would love to have a building like that. So I said, I wonder what it would cost to either franchise the same as what they have, or to create something that's similar that does not attack their franchise of what they have. Because when we think like where I live out in Katy, Texas, we have one of the largest water parks ever. Matter of fact, we made it on the Discovery Channel's travel thing that they do to talk about this big water park that we have out here. And I thought, other than that, what else do we have? Except we do have quite a few warehouses. We have one of the largest Chinese furniture distributors, I don't know the name of it, Daishan or Dai something, out here in Katy. We have Igloo, which makes all of the cooler products. We have that company out here. But to have something as what we call an attraction, oh my God, that would be so awesome, to just have a row of attractions like they have there, including like they've got the big Titanic Museum, they've got the photography museum, they've got the upside down White House thing, which when you go in, there's like a fun center. They've got the roller coaster, that I got on, which wasn't even a big deal. It was just something very simple that's very, very fun. So I've been thinking, man, I say I'm gonna put it out there in the universe and just see if, how sometimes you say something and other people catch it, and maybe if they got the billions of dollars to put into it. I really don't care who does it. I just wish that we had something like that out here in my community that would bring people here to be able to do more than just the water park, because I'm personally not a water park girl. I have seen a few water parks that I would actually participate in, because they're not your typical land in a pool of water, but they're just, you go through the tube thing and then you land on the slip and slide. That I would do, but I'm not going to go and land in the sky and land in water. I'm not going to do that. So I wish we had something like that. And I didn't even think about Pigeon Forge being a attraction type of place. But once you get there and you see King Kong sliding up the side of the hotel mountain and all of that fun stuff, it's like, it's something to see that brings in the attraction of people. Now, I don't know if they actually turn a profit off of any of that, but to know that it's there is pretty awesome, because you could take your whole family and have a great time. Here we are, grown women, and we've had a great time just looking at everything and seeing everything and having a really good time. And the other restaurant that was good too was what was it called? Huck Finn.
Huck Finn.
Yeah, Huck Finn was really good, but that local goat, Huck Finn, and Paw Paws. Catfish. That one was really, really awesome too. Now, if you have to pick between the three, which one you picking?
The food, I think I'll pick local goat.
Me too. Me too, because there's still 2 more things on that menu I want to try. I want to try that tuna salad thing that you had, and I want to try what else? It was something else that I wanted to try that was on the menu.
Salmon. I asked salmon too there.
Okay, yeah. I think it was the salmon, because your salmon looked really, really, really good. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. So let's talk about going forward here, where we're going. So we're already in August of 2023. So we know that we can blink a few times and we'll be in Christmas mode. So
before Christmas.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
If
we blink too hard, we're gonna see Christmas, which will be the end of the year. Christmas. But before that gets here, we have got Thailand.
Yes. And before Thanksgiving, we'll be back before Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so we are going, remember? We're going through Singapore. And then to join the ship in Singapore to Thailand.
Yep.
From Thailand, we go to Vietnam.
Yep.
We're spending 2 days in Thailand, 2 days in Vietnam, and we're heading to Hong Kong.
It's going to be so much fun because we've got so many other cities that we're going to be stopping at in between.
Yes.
And I think what's exciting about it is, I don't know why, I can't explain it, I don't care to, but I love the Asian culture as far as like what the country has to offer, as far as the sightseeing and things to do, and just the way they do things, and the respectfulness of, hey, you need to dress this way if you want to be in this country. Just the respect that they have for their country as a whole. Like, I can walk out my door right now, go to Walmart, and I'll see at least 2 people with a bonnet and pajamas on. You could never get away with that in some of these countries. And I don't even know why you would want to, but my point is, you wouldn't be able to get away with those type of things. I'd like to go to countries where you can clearly see that the people that live there really respect their culture and really respect their country and everything that has to do with it. And I think having that type of organization and that type of cohesiveness, so that you can understand what you can and can't do, I really do like that. And I've heard about how clean Singapore is and just how pristine it is. And I'm excited to be able to see it for myself. I know that for me, it's going to be one of those things like, no matter what we do, it's not going to seem real. Even when I look back at pictures and videos, it's never going to seem real. So I'm just going to enjoy and soak it all in. And I'm excited about, the little train area where we can sit in the train and go. I'm excited about so many things. And when I look at your list and I look at my list and I look at Felicia's list, I'm like, we are going to see some of the most beautiful, amazing things. And we're going to meet some great people. I already know it.
Yes.
I've never met a stranger. We always talk to people. We're going to see other Americans over there, of course. We're going to see other people who love to travel, of course. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that for sure.
Yes, I'm so excited. And I love to talk about food. Yeah.
Yes.
My children always say, Mama, you don't eat. But I say, if I don't eat, why am I still alive? But I eat. I just pick what I eat.
Yeah.
I love Thai food.
Yes.
So, and I love their tom yum soup.
Ooh,
so I have decided, whilst in Thailand, I'm going to eat tom yum soup every day.
Because they'll probably have it on our cruise, right?
I'm sure they will have it. Whenever we go to the cities,
right?
We go out and go visit, I'm going to eat some. And then when we get to Vietnam, the jasmine rice from Vietnam.
I know.
I'm going to make sure I eat some real jasmine rice.
And I hope we can bring some back, a little packet of something back. Because I remember when we with the Napoleon Hill group, we went to Malaysia and we went to a tea farm. And I brought back, when I tell you I brought back so much tea, I don't remember what
Mhm.
year that was, but when I cleaned out my closet about 5 months ago, I had to throw all the tea out because I was like, okay, you've had this
You
tea
didn't
for
use them.
weeks. I didn't use them all. And it's been so many years now. I'm just like, I don't know. So I just went ahead and threw it. But I got so much oolong tea and this tea and that tea and raspberry tea. I mean, the tea farm was amazing. So I hope that anything that we bring back, it could be a mixture of maybe some food or a mixture of, something that's going to live rent free in our heads forever, so that we'll be talking about this for many, many years to come. Because
did I tell you that on my list? I want to take a cooking lessons while we are there.
I saw it on there.
Yes.
I think that's a fantastic idea, and I'm game. I am so game to do something like that. And I think you found a place.
Yes, I
Yeah,
found a
I saw
place.
it on the list, and I was like, ooh, yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Because then I can get back and
I love the food.
look. I can get back and think I know what I'm doing. Because I'm gonna
Pretend.
definitely set up my camera and video. Be like, okay, we gotta put this in first, do that first. I need this ingredients.
Yes.
Definitely want to do that. So that's gonna close out our International Ladies of Purpose 2023. And then I'm gonna tell you, if you want to see some wonderful places. Oh, I'm gonna go back to this. You said we picked something from a lottery. Let me explain that to our listeners. In our International Ladies of Purpose group, every member that comes in gets to give us a list of their top 5 locations that's been on their bucket list, that they've added to their bucket list, or they want to put on their bucket list. And then we literally physically put it in. We literally and physically put it in a bucket. Yep, that has Santa on it because I bought it during Santa time. But we literally put it in a bucket. And then when it's time for us to start our planning process, we literally go in and we pull that name. Now, we don't pull the same person's bucket list. If, for example, if Agnes chose the last one, then, we'll pick somebody and it won't be Agnes. But, we've had such great success with that lottery thing, is that we are already planned all the way out to 2026.
Yes.
Very exciting, because every time I look at that list, like, oh my God, I get to go to all of these great places and I can't wait to meet all the people. And I just know it's going to be such a great, great experience. I also have to say that if you have this question in your head about expenses and all of that, we definitely do everything on a budget, meaning that we don't have to be at the 6-star hotel that's $750 a night. We don't have to do the helicopter ride that costs $1,500. Those are not things that we're going for. We're going to actually get the experience of one another, and we're going to get the experience of whatever location we are, whether it's US or international. But that's what the bucket list thing, bucket list thing is that she mentioned a little while ago. I didn't want that to go over the heads of anybody like, well, what does she mean, a bucket list? So yeah, so for 2024, we've got an exciting year coming up, right?
Very exciting. We are starting with a retreat.
Yes.
At Puerto Rico in February.
Yes.
That's our Valentine retreat for these beautiful women that will be attending. And over there, we're not just going to Puerto Rico. We're going to have fun. But before we have fun, like I said earlier, we do enhance our life with training. So we are doing Napoleon Hill success principles, because really, you can have a business, but if you cannot manage yourself to live long, to do things, you cannot enjoy the money you make. Exactly. So we want to enjoy every piece of our life. And also we learn building our family structure, making sure we have strong, successful family. That's why we do that. And learning business strategies.
Right.
Business have to make millions, because all of us have. So how can you position yourself? And we're not talking about get rich quick or just something that we're just talking about. We just want to share what we have done personally to be where we are. So that is what I love about our travel. So that's Puerto Rico. And then we have fun. We get there, we go to the beach, of course, we go to excursions and everything that in between that we have to do. Then we come back, and in April, we go into Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia.
And that's one of our member bucket list trips. So that's going to be a lot of fun, because we're going to get a chance to go over to Jekyll Island, and we're going to be in Midtown. We're going to be in a historic Savannah. So we'll get a chance to see a lot of beautiful things. And that's gonna kind of be one of our financial development retreats, where we'll be talking about, you know, how this whole financial system was set up. And then we'll be talking about how we can set up our own personal financial systems within ourselves, because we've got people in our group that have retired and, you know, doing the stock market and doing very, very well with it, and can teach us the wisdom from that. So that's going to be super, super excited. And then Agnes, let them know what we're doing for the babies. And when I say babies, I just mean the young folks.
The young folks.
But wait a minute. Before you tell them, what we decided is that in the midst of us iron sharpening iron with our ladies group, that we feel like, because the younger community is our future, that we should be responsible and take the charge on teaching them success principles as well. There's a lot that you can't learn in school. There's a lot that mom and dad don't know. But if you can connect your teen or your graduate class of 2024 with women who can show them those success principles, who can talk about Think and Grow Rich, but then also show them, you know, culture, and show them educational things, and, you know, really show them to how they can prepare themselves for the real world. Because living in your mother and father's home and going to school every day and not having any responsibilities, it's going to be a little bit different even when you leave to go off to college. So we have decided to do what, Agnes?
Take a senior trip, 2024 graduates to Japan.
Tokyo, yes. Japan. Yes,
Japan.
Yes.
We're going in June the 6th through the 16th. And we want them to have fun. Yes. And again, while we're taking them, as Dawn shared, we will let them have fun like they want to with the Disney at Japan. There's some train rides, excursions every day, but also every day we are trying to sharpen them up. Exactly. So when they come back, they know exactly what they want to do, and they can move forward with it and be very successful. We want to see our young ones we travel with grow up to be very, very, very successful individuals. So that is what we have for our.
And if we get really, really lucky, Agnes, we're going to have some of those class of 2024 individuals. They're going to create a purpose plan for themselves. Yes. And they'll have something that will be used for them to, you know, help themselves. And I'm sure they're going to meet other people on this group, because we have kids coming from different school districts in different areas. And so they may make some lifetime friends. Like when my daughter went on her it wasn't her senior trip, but she went with the people to people group when she was getting ready to go to 10th grade. Those kids are now 30 years old. They get together once a year to talk about, remember when we went on our trip with people to people, you know, there's all these people that live out in this community, and they get together once a year to kind of like kick back and talk about the fun that they had, and just to connect with one another. So that's what we are wanting to show this group of individuals too, is that you can build lifelong relationships with people in and out of your community. But if you can put a purpose plan together, at least you'll kind of know maybe what your next step is going to be. Once you get into college, there's a certain way you need to maneuver so that you can get that degree and get whatever that career kicked off that you want. If you've decided you're not going to go to college, but you're going to start, you know, help with the family business, you may come back smarter and tougher and better to say, you know what, how about we do it this way, mom and dad, or whatever. You may decide that you're going to get a traditional 9-to-5 job, but at least you're going to have some principles and a base in you that's going to be different than every other employee in that business who probably has never even heard of the 17 success principles or Think and Grow Rich. So we're not just taking them to Tokyo, Japan, and all the other places, but it's going to be more of a leadership development trip for the class of 2024.
That's right. So that's gonna be awesome. I just like I said, I can taste and smell Japan right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But our next trip after that will be in October, and we are going to Greece. From there, we head on to Israel. We'll see Jerusalem, Ashdod, and then we'll go to Egypt.
Yep.
We're going to be in Alexandria and other places surrounding, because we're going to spend 2 days there, 2 days in Israel, 2 days in Egypt, and from there to Turkey. Woo! So I know we're going to have fun there. We have in our plan to meet some host family. So that would be awesome. Very awesome. And then we'll take some pictures. Of course, we have to have the pyramids and all the stuff in our pictures as we go there. Can't go to Egypt without a pyramid picture.
No, you
so
can't.
we will take pictures. We will have fun. Again, it's about understanding and studying as we sharpen each other about ancient history. So why don't we step back a little bit and study how they lived? And I believe those people, they live well. They live very well. Let's look at how they did things.
Right.
And as we do all the time, we want to sharpen our mind. We want to know what worked and what did not work. Right. Because in our lives, some things may be working, and some things may not be working, right. And we need to change. So right. that is why we want to study Asian history in the Middle East, and that's a better place to go to study history.
Absolutely. Now, if you had to say, if someone said to you, what would be the 3 reasons that they should join International Ladies of Purpose, what would be your answer to them?
Oh, the reason is it's so many, but the 3 of them, I would say, you want to develop as a human being.
Right.
You want to develop yourself personally, your business, your family, your financial status. All we do is we want all these places to be better in our lives. Right. Now, the next one is our health. We want this mental health. We want, as we go and come back, we want to relax and then come out with a whole different outlook on our mind.
Never the same, like you said, never the same.
Never the same.
Yeah.
So you come back different, so different. You know, and that's the second one. The third one is the networking that we have, knowing other people.
Yes.
When we travel, don't always say we never met a stranger. Never. It's like we've known the people. We take pictures. Some people say, "Can we take your photo for you?" As if they knew us, and they will take it. They'll give us a wonderful picture. So just knowing.
Remember the one lady said, "Can I take y'all picture for y'all?" And she was all down on the ground. We was like, "What? You must be professional."
Yes. And she gave us some great photos.
A great job. She was like, "Oh, wait a minute, let's get that angle. Okay, hold up. Come together. Okay, now I'm gonna get down here." I was like, "Oh, she's serious." And she was with her family. She could have just gone on.
And she was so genuine.
She was with her family, but she was just so real and so genuine. And we were like, "Thank you so much." She was like, "Oh, of course." And we were like, "Okay, that's what I'm talking about." Like, I just love, because, you know, if somebody's taking a picture, we'll ask them, "You want me to get the picture for you or whatever?" And she did the same thing. But, you know, sometimes you don't get the same reciprocation from people, and to see that you can, it just like gives you that extra hope of there are so many great people in the world. Don't think there's not, because I keep seeing that there really, really is. So yeah, so that is all about our International Ladies.
That's all about
Purpose. Yeah. And Agnes, thank you so much for saying yes, because you could have said, "Look, I don't have time," because you literally have had to make time, just like me, make time to be able to do all the things. And we spend countless hours, countless days, countless time on the telephone, planning and talking and putting things together. And I have to be honest, it has been so much fun, and it has been so next level thinking. You know, once we get something done, we're like, how about this and how about that? There's just so much that we've got coming up, you know, with our group, and it's quite exciting. So never a boring moment, and never met a stranger. And I think those are 2 qualities there, because people will know that they can approach us. And I think that's how we end up never meeting strangers, is that people know that we're approachable. So it's pretty cool. Any last words before we go? All about
last word. Come on and join us. I want people, women out there, if you're 45 or better, come and join us.
Come and join us.
And you will never be the same.
And one last thing, why did we make it for 45 or better?
Because we want people, women who have, let me say, settle. We don't want any shenanigans, like people say. So we just want to go and focus on what we need to do. We don't want to worry about the young ones that are trying to go to the club, they're on their own or whatever. We do things together. And so we believe that 45 and better, they can understand what we're trying to achieve.
Exactly.
So we can go safely and come home safely to our families.
Yeah, because a different age group might get a different thing. They may say, "Oh no, I don't want to. I don't want to, be around them because they talking about the Bible," or "No, I don't want to be around them. They talking about Napoleon Hill," or "I don't want to be around them because they're in the bed by 10 o'clock." We want to be with a group of people who want to be with us, that have the same morals and values and same thought process that we have. Yes, there's plenty of other groups that you can be a part of that's going to do all of that you want to do. We're just saying, here's what we do. And so that's how we have to manage the group of International Ladies of Purpose. And I like the fact that we have more seasoned women. I have people, somebody just called me last Saturday saying, I've been looking for a group like this. Like, I need this type of group. I've been traveling with people that they think I'm boring because I don't want to be hanging out, at 10 o'clock at night. They think I'm boring because I'm not, dropping it low and dipping it wide and all these other things and drinking and smoking, and they think I'm boring, or they treat me like I'm the mama of the, what she say? They treat me like I'm the mama of the group. So they're afraid to be themselves because I'm making them uncomfortable. She said, I need a group like your group. I say, yeah. And we call ourselves International Women of Ladies of Purpose because we actually have a purpose. It's not just for us to travel, but that we have a purpose with one another in mind. Again, the iron sharpening iron. And, the thing about it too, is that, these trips cost money. So if we're not iron sharpening iron and showing one another how you can bring in additional disposable, important word, disposable cash and money, then you won't be able to do these trips because you'll forever be thinking they're too expensive. No matter what the cost is, it could be $400 and you'll still say it's too expensive because you haven't figured out how to carve that disposable cash out of your budget to be able to relax and relate. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't do that and you continuously just think that you're supposed to wake up every day, go to work, come back home, eat, take care of your family, wake up and go to work, come back home, eat, baby, that's a hamster wheel of a roller coaster I don't even ever want to be on. So that's our whole purpose. And also the most important thing we want you to know is that if you are considering joining International Ladies of Purpose, we are a tax-exempt 501c3 nonprofit organization. And if you want to learn more about that, please join us over on our YouTube page for International Ladies of Purpose, where you'll see more of our videos that are catered and curated just for the group, which we're getting ready to put up a new video there. You can also see our trip for Tulum on there. You can see our trip from Tennessee on there, and you're going to see a whole lot about Thailand because I have vowed to at least take a few thousand pictures as I normally do on an international trip. So we will have so much great video. And I think we're going to probably break it up into each country or each city that we go into. We're going to break that video up into that. We're going to do one Thailand video that talks about the whole thing. And then we're going to break up, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Bangkok, Hong Kong, specifics for that particular thing. So look forward to that coming up. And it's just a couple of months away. So it's not like it's going to be too far down the road for you to see. But thank you, Agnes, for joining me today here on Mother Daughter.
And I want to tell our listeners to like and share. Yes. If they like what they heard, they should like it and share with their family or friends that they know that want to travel. So thank you.
Yeah, think about your ladies that go to your church. Think about your ladies that work with you. Think about ladies in your family that are 45 or better. And maybe they want to travel with a group of ladies like us. We know a lot of ladies that are, in 9-to-5 jobs right now that are wanting to transition and retire and maybe start something new, or just to be a part of a group where they can travel with a few times a year. So make sure you share it with those that may be interested. And if they have more questions and they go to our YouTube page, International Ladies of Purpose, down in the description bar, they'll be able to see how to contact us and how to reach out and all of that. So thank you, Agnes. I appreciate it. And we'll be back again to talk, and we'll go over to our International Ladies of Purpose YouTube page and we'll give more information over there. But thank you for being my guest today. Of course, it was fun.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure to be here.
All righty. I'll see you on the next trip.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.